Beat if you can.
Yeah, oh, fuck me. Okay, we're live. And apparently... fuck me. Yeah, that we have also. Yeah, apparently, let's see. Do we actually have... Or have? No, I don't have for now, but should there be news about it? See if I can find anything in Formula 1. If they have... Let's see. Yeah, but the news. Adrian Newey. Let's see. F1 Adrian Newey. Let's see, and then we go away. Here we have the information. Redbull confirmed that legendary F1 designer Newey is to leave the team. Redbull announced any news leave the team with the estimate. What the fuck? Estimat. F1 design deporting after almost 20 years at Milton Keynes. Yeah, they said something, let's see, rule in the first quarter of 2025. Yeah, so in 2025, sometime, he will be leaving. On final development delivery of Redbull first hypercar. He will see out the project until its completion and will continue to attend specific races to support the F1 team to the end of the 2024. Okay, sure. Send it to myself. Message. So let's see. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner also hail new influence with the team. True legend. Let's see. And now we might be the most important thing. While Newey will be remaining with the Red Bull Technology Group until the first quarter of 2025, it has not been stated that he will do next after leaving. Okay, so there is still no information about that. Reports suggest Ferrari will have signed Lewis Hamilton to drive for them for the next season. Our favorites, while Aston Martin has also been reported as potential destination. What is undeniable is Newey pedigree within Formula 1, having been guiding hand in no less than 12 construction winning cars so far in his career. Wherever he may end up, he will certainly prove to be a well-be asset. Okay, so 10 hours ago. Silver 7. Okay. Will I get anything nice? Probably not. Yeah. More or less nothing. 5 wins. Play 1 game. Play 2 tavern brawls. Deal 100 damage. Play 1 game as mage, priest or paladin. Okay, so it will be some tavern brawl then. Oh no, battlegrounds, fuck me, go away. Nope, no tavern brawl done. Wait, what quest? Nope. Okay, återkant här. Okay. Oh shit. Mage, priest, paladin och rogue. Paladin, rogue. So paladin game in casual. And whilst that happening, we have, let's see how many videos do we have. We have from Autosport. Then we have the race. Fucking 11 minutes with the race will probably be a nightmare. 5 minutes from Formula 1 about Adrian Newey. And then we also have the almost 1 hour nation podcast. Can also be somewhat a nightmare. I mean, then something maybe from Williams. Yeah, probably it. No, this wiki. But let's start with a...
Job's done.
Yeah, what information Autosport have for Adrian Newey? And like, if we go to the... Yeah, I don't know, call the newspaper. State clearly there's no news where he will go. And that he will only leave Redbull in 2025 in the first... Was this the first quarter? It should be. Yeah, the first quarter, 2025. So if he have a 1 year gardening leave or what is called after 2026, han might be started, he can join another team. Sure. But at least let's see what the sport have to say. Oh shit, loud.
After mounting reports that Adrian Newey was set to leave Red Bull, Red Bull has finally announced that the legendary designer has confirmed he'll be leaving the team in 2025.
And oh shit. Yeah, it must have been P1, I think. That I watched yesterday. So much talk about the Red Bull is done now when Adrian Newey is leaving.
I wonder.
So if that is the case, why should Carlos Sainz join Red Bull if they are so bad now? Without Adrian Newey? Isn't that a waste of talent? Like,
I wonder.
and Mercedes doesn't have Adrian Newey, so why should Max Verstappen join Mercedes? Like, some people have some weird thinking about the future of the teams.
Ending his association that stretches back to 2006. Well, silly season this year.
So many people say 20 years. With Red Bull, it's more or less 18. But who cares about the fact?
Is undoubtedly continuing to prove to be pretty entertaining. And joining me to discuss this developing story, I'm delighted to have Hayden Cobb. First of all, Hayden, how are you getting on?
Oh, I'm very well, thanks. This is keeping us busy before my...
The privileged guy.
Amy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty well, actually. Thanks very much. Like you say, it's one of these things that's keeping us on our toes. Now, about a week ago, a reliable source did indicate that Adrian Newey was going to be leaving Red Bull, and it's finally come to fruition, hasn't it? It's now been announced. What has the team, what has Red Bull, Christian Horner, and all the rest of them been saying?
No, thank me. How much? Was that a misplay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Must be 5. I could have played that. Unlucky.
Saying about it.
That's right. So it's probably come a little bit sooner than I think all of us anticipated, given that the first murmurings were only a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, you're right. Red Bull have officially announced that Newey will leave in 12 months' time. But let's say, at the start of 2025, due to contractual wranglings and lawyers involved. He'll still be with the team for the rest of the season. He'll be attending numerous races, including the Miami Grand Prix this weekend, and he's still going to be completing work on Red Bull's RB hypercar product, the RB17, which is due to be unveiled at Goodwood this July. So he's still going to be in and about for Red Bull up until the end of this season. But I imagine probably from summer onwards he'll be taking a step back, and then eventually, obviously, will depart from the team early next year. Of course, the team have been gushing with praise. He has been a mainstay for their entire success and their entire foundations since he joined the team. Close to two decades ago.
Yeah, I mean, he did some great job in Red Bull, but before that also in Williams, McLaren, and maybe now for people that what do you say, hoping for Ferrari, that he will join that.
And it is really a changing of the guard at Red Bull, and I think Horner's really paid tribute to Newey in saying that all their greatest moments from the past 20 years have been when Adrian's hand has been on the technical tiller, which is a nice turn of phrase. And it's a new chapter for Red Bull, I think, is the best way you can say it, and I think that's how they're gonna spin it come Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian Newey's also been referred to as a friend by Christian Horner, isn't he? He's a friend of mine. They've been through a lot, and you talk about the success. Was it 13 titles that Adrian Newey's been there for, with 6 constructors, 7 drivers titles over that time? So do we take this as that it's because of things going on within Red Bull that's driven Newey to leave, or was it just the time is right?
There's always a few factors involved, but I think you're right. Leading on to the
Yeah, I mean, you could say yes. But, well, I don't know until he say anything.
controversy around Christian Horner that clearly has played a big role, although nothing
Look clearly. Yeah, nothing been said, but it's clearly that.
said officially on record. It's certainly from sources that we've had that he's unhappy with ongoings around the internal investigation into Christian Horner, with the relationship with a fellow colleague, and obviously then what followed from that, and the media saga that continued off the back of that.
Okay, so you might be more annoyed the media and all the stuff is written about it than what maybe actually happened.
Combined with the fact that obviously, as has been the case for pretty much Newey's entire career since he first hit headlines with title-winning cars, is other teams have always been there offering and keen to get his services. Obviously, we said he's been at Redbull for almost 2 decades, but in that entire time, there's probably been at least one, if not multiple, suitors after him, and it's indeed this case now. We know for certain that Aston Martin have tabled a very lucrative offer to Adrian Newey, and Ferrari certainly seem very, very interested in acquiring his services. So where he goes next is the key decision, I guess, on this one.
We'll come to the timeline though in just a few moments. Before we do though, just talk about this friend thing, this Horner friend. Newey's a friend of mine thing. There was a statement that Horner made a while ago where he said, "Man, you didn't fall apart." Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, didn't fall apart when Cantona left, and that did rile the Newey camp, didn't it, somewhat? So there is this fine balance, isn't there, between things that are being said now and things that were said in the heat.
Oh! Scare man! Man, aren't you hyped to play this game? Why are all the shorts? No! Are we losing? They died fast.
We have little time.
Streama dina favoriter på TV4 Play när du
Okay, now we can skip there.
hur du vill.
Heat at the moment.
Yeah, that's right, and it is fair to say that Horner and Newey have been absolute cornerstones to the success of this team, and they've
Oh my
made
God.
a strong partnership
Fuck is this?
throughout. But it does seem that say in recent months and comments that have been said that the stress between the two has grown, and there's a bit of a strain on that. There's all in the background. There was always this case of a little bit of agitation between Newey and other technical heads at the Redbull team, in terms of Newey seemed to always get 100% of the credit, even though it wasn't just him building and creating and designing the car, let's say. So for one reason or another, yes, one of his closest and longest term allies in Horner, that relationship has strained perhaps unrepairably, and that's why this decision has come at this point. And it will be, like I said, an end of an era at Redbull now, and what Redbull does next is also pretty important for a few other people in their team and what their futures hold.
Definitely going to come to that in a moment though. But what has Newey said on this? I understand that he's over in Miami, as you say, so there's going to be a lot of people trying to get sound bites from Newey, but what's he revealed at this stage?
He was very, I say, in the press release, let's say, very, very reflective and gushing of obviously the success and the opportunity that he's had at Redbull. And he said ever since he was a young boy, he wanted to design fast cars, and he was lucky enough to make that dream a reality in the way that he wanted at Redbull. Obviously, he had great success at McLaren and obviously teams before that when he was rising through the ranks, I'll put that in the politest way possible. But yeah, Redbull and its design department really became its own under Newey when he became in charge. And yeah, for almost 2 decades, Newey's called it his great honour to have played a key role in Redbull's progress from an upstart newcomer to a multiple title-winning team. And yeah, I think it is. They're going to hope for the best in a acrimonious split, but there's obviously that underlying comments and fractions that have.
Look like we are done here. And soon that will be done, but time to go to the next account. Let's see, what's left? New relationship with the team, new statement. Yeah, he will probably will avoid so much news people he can possibly do.
Developed, really.
So hard to do this story, isn't it, without speculating on where he's going to end up, but I'm going to try my hardest to resist. And by the way, this over my shoulder is Ferrari, and this image of a Ferrari, this isn't supposed to be subliminal messaging, it just so happens to be in my office. But what are the next steps for Red Bull and for Newey? You kind of hinted that he's leaving in the first quarter of 2025, but what will his role be? How much hands-on can he be, really, within the team? And what is the process?
Yeah, it's I think those details are to be sort of sorted out, but the general understanding will be that he will take a hands-off role on the development.
My god, back to this weird bike. Nice. Okay, let's see. Oh, more fun quest. Play games as a druid, hunter, or paladin. So paladin again, maybe. And we're also done with the event. So 3 games of paladin, and hopefully this will be done. And Tavern Braun doesn't have to think about it because I will not pay to play a boring fucking game.
Development for next year's car, going on timelines. But to be honest, for Red Bull's position, it's not, at least in the very short term, not a major change they need to make because of the regulations overhaul coming for 2026. It's believed that depending on how the contracts get sorted out, Newey will have a
maybe they will work, make him work on the 2026 100% now.
Fairly lengthening guarding period on top of when he will officially leave in 2025. So therefore, basically, you won't be able to...
Is that any information? Will Andrew Newey actually do that? To make sure that they will have a good car 2026 also.
To get involved in next year's car, or wherever team or whatever team he turns up in. So, as you say, over this rest of the season, yeah, we'll take more of a step back, and then Red Bull will, well, I guess, look to promote naturally within. Who knows, they may look to poach or find other talent from elsewhere, but at the moment it seems like they've got a very strong technical department led by Pierre Vache, to basically take on that responsibility that Newey will relinquish. And from Newey's part here, I guess it's watch this space. As we've said, Aston Martin are very keen for his services. Ferrari appear very, very keen. It sounds like the Ferrari situation might be the one that's a bit more tempting. But again, Red Bull themselves have indicated, because of these guardians, he might not be able to join a team until starting 2027, which, given we're in 2024 now...
That will be, really great for Red Bull. Securing that 2026 or 2027 can be a good year for them
not
also.
Even halfway through. That feels a long way away. And he will be of a decent age, let's say, into retirement age. But that's not to say he would want to retire. But it's a few factors to think about for Newey in terms of what his next steps are. Does he want to basically take on the next Formula 1 challenge towards the end of his career, or what is his next passion?
Yeah, I guess what we've already mentioned, that Red Bull aren't unlikely to fall off a cliff with their performance. And that's
Yeah, true. Like I said, P1 have nothing. They're so washed. Like, why would Red Bull? I mean, are you thinking about Mercedes that 100% have fallen off the cliff? So why would Red Bull also do that?
because it's not all down to Newey. We wax lyrical about Newey, and Adrian Newey's the one who sort of grabs the headlines when the team does really well. But you mentioned there's a very solid team behind him, and Pierre Wash coming through could be a good option. And I suppose 2026 with the new regs coming through, the new engine for Red Bull as well, if you're going to make a cut or a split like this, now's a good time to do it.
Exactly. It was a case of, I think, cut now if it's if the damage is done and they look to start their new chapter with the sort of Ford-backed Red Bull powertrains.
Maybe you don't want that. I mean, do you want to have any new way work on your car to make sure you have a good car, at least for 26 and 27? But help him to know what to do after when he have left and you're in another team.
Coming online in a couple of years, or try and repair said damage and keep Newey as part of the team moving forwards. But it seems like the first option has been taken, and they're going to look to, I would say, very much start a new chapter as the team in more ways than one, and probably more ways than they would have wanted. In terms of, they would have of course wanted to keep Newey going into the new era. But as you say, Pierre Vache looks the most logical next direct head of technical development. Not that he wasn't already working alongside Newey, but he will be getting the full responsibility of that. And look, therefore, I imagine he may take a direction of what we've seen at McLaren, say when Andrea Stella got the top job, let's say. I'm not saying he's comparable directly because he's become team principal rather than just totally technical director, but he analysed the entire technical department at McLaren and said to Zach Brown, we need to make changes. We need to James Key was let go, let's say, and he brought in big players from other teams. So that could be a possibility. I think looking at the structure, I think Red Bull will do that. That would be the sensible thing to do. See where gaps form or where responsibilities need to be taken up, and whether they do that internally or look to hire externally.
Yeah, we won't talk about this too much longer without going into speculation realms, which is a danger, like I say, we don't really want to fall into. But there is a likelihood that the lawyers are working very hard right now to come up with some financial agreement between Red Bull and Adrian Newey to release him from this clause or this part of his contract, which would likely see him not be able to work for another team until 2027.
Nice.
So that's the most likely outcome, isn't it? But how likely is that likely outcome, would you say?
Depends how deep the pockets are of the teams that want to sign him, but also where Newey wants to go. Like I said, from what we've heard, Aston Martin isn't the preferred route, but we know for a fact that they have some very, very deep pockets to get personnel and teams that they want. But Ferrari, equally say Ferrari, they're not exactly struggling for a bit of cash. So if they can do a deal to get Hamilton out of a contract, I'm sure they can throw some money at the Newey situation to get him earlier. But that's all to be decided.
I mean, they can pay, but will can actually pay off the contract
by the contracts and by the negotiations that come over the next weeks, months, and potentially it could be the next 12 months, because we know for certain that he won't be going anywhere for 12 months. So there is time on both sides to get the best deal that they see. So yeah, we'll watch this.
2 more fun games
next. And I guess the final thing I can add is it will be very, very interesting to see what happens and what is Max Verstappen's opinion on this whole matter, because we know he was particularly keen to see certain members of the team stay and perhaps certain members of the team go.
So maybe Max Verstappen and a new John Williams. Wouldn't that be amazing?
When the saga around Horner was kicking off originally around the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian races, and this is probably the next kicking point for that.
Yeah, and I imagine if a certain father of Max is around as well, there'll be other things said too. This is going to be quite exciting. I think Miami is going to be an exciting Grand Prix with Adrian Newey there, with Max being as vocal as he always is. So we shall have to keep across it. And of course, if you're watching all of our content here at Autosport, you'll know that we will get to you as soon as we can with all the stories as they develop on track and off track. So if you like what you've seen, don't forget to hit subscribe. Stay up to date with all the stories within Formula One and the wider motorsport as well. As always, thanks to Hayden Cobb for being part of this and for giving his opinion. We hope to see you on the next one. Also, don't forget to check out all the content, the written content, at autosport.com as well. But we'll see you next time. Thanks for
Probably
watching.
not a written content. Okay, what information did they give? Not a lot, I would say. Let's see if F1 have maybe more information.
It says much about how towering a figure Adrian Newey is, that the news he's set to leave Red Bull Racing is a bigger story than any other in recent Formula One history, save perhaps for Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari. But that's simply because of how immensely successful the softly spoken Englishman has been across a record-breaking career that's seen him design championship-winning cars for Williams, McLaren and Red Bull, and earn a reputation as the leading technical mind in Formula One. When he joined Red Bull in 2006, they were Formula One's new boys and had a reputation as a team more interested in partying than...
I mean, come on, and then you join Williams. Be just a member shareholder.
and results. It was a reputation that Newey would soon dispel after delivering the cars that saw them crush the might of Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes and the rest over a 4-year title spell for Red Bull and Sebastian Vettel from 2010 to 2013. And F1 is now in the grip of Newey's second spell of Red Bull dominance. Not only has Max Verstappen won the last 3 drivers' titles, Red Bull have barely given the opposition a sniff in the last 2 years, proving Newey is still at the top of his game. By the numbers, Newey is the most successful designer in the history of Formula One. His cars have won 12 Constructors' Championships for 3 different teams, and 13 drivers' titles, with another one of each sure to follow this year. 7 different drivers have clinched the World Championship driving Newey machinery, and his cars have won more than 200 Grand Prix. His last design, the RB19, is the most dominant car to ever race in Formula One. He's even won championships in America, as well as the fabled Indy 500. 1996 champion
I know nothing about that, but hey, that's amazing.
in Damon Hill, who won his title at the wheel of a Newey designed Williams, said, "It's no coincidence he keeps producing cars that win. He's a genius. And it's not just clever thinking that keeps Newey
I mean, come on, and then John Williams again, and get Max Verstappen to join them.
at the top. He pairs
Oh, that would be so amazing. Come on.
that with a
Make it
fierce
true.
desire to win, with Frank Williams once describing him as the most competitive person I've ever met. It's no exaggeration to say every single team boss in the pit lane would love to sign Newey, and his phone will no doubt be red hot with offers as F1's power brokers clamour for his services. A Ferrari
But it will probably more likely go to Ferrari. So depressing. Come on, go to Williams.
swan song alongside Lewis Hamilton will surely be tempting. He's previously admitted he would regret never having worked with the Scuderia and came very close to joining them in the mid-90s and again.
Nah, so this will probably more likely make him join Ferrari. Finish the bucket list to do a car for Lewis Hamilton and a Ferrari.
In 2014. It would also mean that Ferrari go into the new regulations in 2026 with the most successful Formula One designer of all time overseeing their car and the most successful driver of all time at the wheel. That's a mouth-watering prospect.
I wonder how that system will be. And that's if Max Verstappen stays in Red Bull, that he most likely will. Because why would he leave for Mercedes? Red Bull versus Ferrari. Can he still beat them?
Respect for the Tifosi, and the idea of being the man to help finally break their near 2-decade-long title drought will surely also appeal to Newey. But Toto Wolff would dearly love to snatch Newey from under Christian Horner's nose as he plots Mercedes' resurgence, especially...
Why would he wanna join Mercedes when he can join Ferrari?
As the Silver Arrows boss is reportedly working hard to poach Max Verstappen as well. And perhaps the most ambitious outfit in the pit lane is Aston Martin, with billionaire owner Stroll having already
this could happen, but I believe more in Ferrari.
sanctioned a major recruitment spree in a bid to turn the green team into title contenders. Newey would be the cherry on top of the sundae for Stroll, who can offer the Englishman the very best in state-of-the-art facilities at Aston's new campus and a works deal with Honda, with whom Newey has enjoyed such a fruitful partnership at Red Bull. And don't forget Sauber. The Hinwil squad is now fully owned by Audi, who will enter F1 in 2026.
Yeah, this is least likely. I believe more he joining Williams than Audi.
And what a way to signal they're serious about competing to win than luring Newey to lead their technical setup. Christian Horner and Newey himself have always been at pains to stress that the Red Bull technical team is far from a one-man band. Technical director Pierre Wascher has dozens of designers and engineers working for him, but any team would be weaker without Adrian Newey in it. Red Bull's bench may be deep, but losing a man of his talents will hurt. And it remains to be seen what star driver Max Verstappen makes of it all. With Red Bull's legendary designer no longer at his drawing board in Milton Keynes, will the Dutchman start assessing his own options for the future? Make no mistake, this news is every bit as seismic as Lewis Hamilton's winter announcement that he'll be joining Ferrari. It's the end of a glorious era for the Red Bull Newey partnership, and the Milton Keynes team will now have to learn how to win without their top technical guru. And there could yet be more fallout from such a big player moving on the F1 chessboard. Whichever team he joins will be celebrating perhaps the biggest F1 coup of the decade, with the man himself ready to write a new chapter in his incredible career.
Yeah. And that would probably be Ferrari. Let's see. Oh, let's see.
A good explorer comes prepared.
Sure. We're trying to win this fast. Let's see what the race have to say about this. Probably a lot, but probably a lot of nothing. But let's see.
It's official. Adrian Newey is leaving Red Bull. Scott and Ed are here with me to work this out and pick through it. Scott, I can't believe I've just said those words. This is...
You can't believe. I mean, if you look at Newey's history, as soon as he feels he don't want to be in the team, he leaves. So that's, you could say, it's not any news. It have happened before. I mean, that's the reason why he left Williams, then left McLaren, and now left the Red Bull.
Move quickly.
Man, should I do that? I feel like I have to. Yeah, somewhat misplay.
Something that until this story started to break, what, about a week ago, I never thought we'd see this day. How on earth has it come to this?
Yeah, it's definitely one that seems incredibly surprising, and you're right, you kind of can't believe it when it comes out. But then actually, when you start to piece together what's happened behind the scenes, and you start reflecting on things over the last year or so, and even way beyond that,
Oh my God, so
it does
much
actually
healing.
start to make sense. A lot of people probably don't know this. I wasn't actually massively aware of this until recently, but Newey actually came very close to leaving Red Bull a year ago. He did a new contract about this time 12 months back, which didn't allay the concerns that he had at the time, but kind of pushed them down the road a little bit, because it gave him, I think, a little bit more working freedom, a bit more control of his own hours, and he's always had, or more recently has had, this ability to kind of come and go as he pleased. But maybe I think that was emphasised even more in this new contract. But there were some underlying issues. He didn't like the fact that he felt he wasn't getting the credit that he deserved for his stature, his experience, his contract.
From who? The Redbull?
I wonder.
That can be true, but not the fans.
Contribution to Red Bull's success. He didn't like the way Red Bull was kind of being set up, Pierre Vacher as the technical director, and that kind of group getting all of the plaudits. I know that he was a bit unhappy with the direction F1 was going in general, this kind of less engineering, less racing focused, more about the spectacle, loads of marketing stuff, moved away from what he wants F1 to be. So there was all of this stuff swirling anyway. It was kind of...
So you don't like Formula 1 anymore? Or what?
They put a pin in it a year ago, but it's flared up again this year because all of that stuff is still relevant. And then there's some other stuff on top of that, like the wider Red Bull political power struggle in the background, destabilising thing, and of course the Christian Horner controversy this year, which Newey, we understand, personally has an issue with in terms of how it's been handled, probably Horner himself, and that's brought everything to the surface, piled a bunch of stuff on top, and the end is what we have now, something that can't be reconciled.
And obviously that covers very much what's happened over the past year, 18 months. But of course this has been bubbling under...
Fucking mall. It's healing almost every day. Fuck. What's so much healing? And this comes from Rugo, so this is so depressing.
For a long time, he wasn't that keen going back a decade on the hybrid regulations. He's always had interest in other things outside of Formula One, often citing the fact he didn't like the direction. So this is entirely in keeping with the personality and character, I think, of Adrian Newey. If he doesn't like a situation he's in, whether it's within a team, within the wider F1 ecosystem, or a combination of the both, he will take action on it. He's always been interested in doing other things as well. Remember back when he originally almost moved to Jaguar, which was before the eventual move he went to that, when he went to that team in its Red Bull form. One of the reasons he stayed at McLaren was said to be the potential to get involved in other projects, for example, America's Cup yachting. So he's someone who is a legend of Formula One, but there's more to him than just Formula One as well. He won't stay with Formula One through thick and thin, although we'll find out exactly what his future holds down the line.
One more scam ad.
Ha!
Oh my god, so loud air. just 1 minute more of this fucking. Fuck me, the fuck is this? Okay, nice. On the finger play. At least it will not be any more healing. Oh my god, one more scam out. Yeah. Oh my god, fuck me. Let's go back to Adrian Newey.
Yeah, hopefully he's not gone
Now we need to...
forever. But Ed, I'm fascinated by the thing that Scott pointed out about the kind of who gets the credit for Red Bull's success. We always know when when there's any success out there, everybody wants a piece of the credit. Everybody wants to be the person responsible for it. But where do you think this lies with? Is Newey the man behind Red Bull's success, or is it the wider team at Red Bull, or is it someone particular at Red Bull? Like, how do you see through all that?
Well, the answer is it's everything, really. No one person, even someone as great a genius as Adrian Newey, can do it all. But Newey was vital because, as we've talked about on podcasts, on videos, in our written stuff on the race over the years, the way he's used is unique. He's not 24/7 nose to the grindstone, but he injects that creativity, those ideas. That was essential in producing a car that worked so well at the start of the current regulations cycle. He designed the suspension himself. He understood conceptually the importance of not just gunning for peak downforce numbers from the floor, because you can get eye-watering downforce numbers, but you need that to work in the real world and give away a little for something that can actually operate and won't have porpoising and bouncing and that kind of thing. That's the kind.
Yeah, he can do this. And what did Mercedes do in all this time? Yeah, and because of that, Max want to join Mercedes. For some reason.
Kind of contribution he could make. He wasn't doing the hard graft, the grinding through of the design process, but that wasn't what he was there for. He was injecting those ideas, that vision, that conceptual value. So that makes him essential, and it's hard to say how important because we've never seen a Red Bull operating at this level without Adrian Newey. So it's very, very hard to test. But he was hugely influential. Let's not pretend otherwise.
And we'll get an idea, I guess, of exactly who's responsible or how responsible Newey was. What if he goes to another team and suddenly turns around their fortunes, or probably a slightly better test that is whether Red Bull falls to pieces without him. But there will be other.
I mean, if Red Bull falls to pieces, what should the Mercedes do? Shouldn't they also fall to pieces? And I mean, McLaren doesn't fall, they are rising, and they don't have Andrew Newey. So, I mean, Red Bull will probably not be the best, but they maybe will be the second best.
Variables that come into that and muddy that picture, because Red Bull's going to, let's face it, sorry to depress everybody, but dominate F1 in 2025 as well, because it's all just going to be a carryover.
Yeah, and they could 2026 also. And the Mercedes, I mean, they are hoping that the engine will be better, but yeah, I mean, is it more likely Ferrari will be better than
this year? But then that it's a completely different competition in 26. New car rules, new engine rules. That could be what trips Red Bull up. And whether Newey's there or not, you don't know how they're going to handle that challenge, if their own engine's going to be up to it. So we'll get an idea of how important Newey really was in the modern.
Also, it's not the first time Ford. Well, they will just do the electric stuff, I think.
You have no idea what I'm capable of.
So maybe Daniel could be really bad.
Era to Red Bull, but we're still not going to get a definitive answer. I do. The one thing I would add on sort of how he has fit into this is it's kind of interesting to me, because whether it was that Aston Martin Valkyrie project or the Red Bull RB17 hypercar, Newey has had these things,
What
as Ed
is
was talking
happening?
about, that he really does latch onto and get interested in. And one of the reasons why he had less day-to-day involvement in the F1 team is because he wanted to pursue these kind of opportunities. If the organisation has moved on to facilitate that he's not around and doesn't want to be around all the time, he can't then complain that the organisation has moved on to facilitate him doing other stuff, and therefore other people will get credit. So
Yeah, true. What are you complaining, Adrian Newey? Stop doing side work if you want to get. What do you say? The acknowledgement that you did the car.
there's a little bit of a balancing act to go, and I'm not trying to say that this is
So lame.
Newey's ego running out of control or anything like that, but I think it's just a function of how a modern F1 team works, and probably does speak to how.
Yeah, this is Hearthstone. Man, Hearthstone is such a nice game. 100% fun game.
The victory is
Man, future of Hearthstone will it ever come back to the glorious days? One more game and then we can skip this. Nice.
Unique Newey is and what he offers, that he was able to exist in this kind of structure, in this kind of role, for as long as he has.
Well, he was an anachronism in a way, in that he was a very positive influence, but there's no one else like him. That's what makes him that anachronism to the benefit of the team. So there was always going to come a point where this happened. He's been there for 2 decades, basically. So there was always going to be this
Yeah, you can also say just 18 years, but yeah.
test ahead, and it's a great trial, I guess, of whether those creative ideas can be originated within Red Bull. There's plenty of very clever, intelligent designers there, but can they have that step back, that capacity to inject those ideas? And
I mean, if it's not, why would Mercedes then come back then? How would Mercedes be somewhat good if you 100% need Adrian Newey in your team to succeed?
I think that's something they have to learn as they move on into the post-Newey era. How do you actually give people the breathing space, not to be 24/7,
Yeah, true.
turning the handle to grind out the designs, etc., and actually have a little bit of time to inject the original thinking that Newey provided. That's the test.
It's going to be fascinating then to see what happens to Red Bull in a post-Newey world. But Scott, what happens to Newey? Should we expect, for example, that he's going to turn up in a year or two's time, whenever he's free to move, in, say, Ferrari Red?
That is obviously what a lot of people kind of want to see. An Adrian Newey, Lewis Hamilton dream team alongside Charles Leclerc in Fred Vasseurs' glorious Ferrari era. It would tick a couple of boxes for Newey. He said before, I don't think he frames them as regrets, but a couple of the things that he says he'd have liked to have done in his career is work with Ferrari and work with Lewis Hamilton. Well, he has the chance now.
Two birds in one stone.
Exactly, it would be absolutely perfect. But he clearly has a slightly complex situation to untangle at Red Bull. He has been heavily involved in this RB17 road car project that Red Bull have sunk a lot into, and it's kind of Newey's baby, really. Because this is a big thing, if he wants to stay in F1, if it's not just everything he's fed up with and it's just Red Bull that he wants to move away from, he's going to want to be getting stuck into the 2026 rules, and all the aero work on that can begin January the 1st, 2025, and Newey's going to want to be right in the cut and thrust of that. But what Red Bull can't do, I assume anyway, is if he decides that's it, I'm retiring, I'm going to go enjoy myself in South Africa, or I'm going to go and enjoy a different technical project, or I'm just going to tend to my garden for as long as I
around
want.
the world, something like that.
Exactly. They can't stop him from doing that. He could just decide this is it and retire.
So Ed, if we assume then that he doesn't have something lined up, he's not already signed for for
At
somebody
least I can
else.
kill them next time.
I'm trying to work out how to word this question. Where do you think he should go? Which might be a different question to where do you want him to go?
Well, there's two pathways for me. I quite like the idea of him just sailing off into the sunset, literally.
Yeah. But I'm hoping Max and Andy Newey joins to Williams.
Given he's
That would be
got
amazing.
his boat project on order and just enjoying the fruits of his labours. He will always be someone who's working in some capacity. Technically, I'm sure he can find challenges to embrace, and I think personally he might well enjoy that. If he wants to stay in the cut and thrust of F1, then he should obviously go to another team, and there are two teams I would like to see him at. One is Ferrari, for obvious reasons, not just because there's that romanticism about Ferrari, can he get Ferrari back on top, but also because it's quite exciting what road car projects he could get involved with at Ferrari. They've got everything there. A Ferrari Newey supercar, what a fantastic project that would be. The other one I'd like to see, which seems a long shot, would be Williams. If I was the owner,
Yeah, man, he knows Williams, Max and Newey at Williams with Alex Albon, and then bring the team back.
of Williams,
Yes.
Dalton Capital.
Finish the story.
Exactly, square the circle, as it were. I would want to offer Newey a stake in the team, the stake that Williams didn't offer him almost 3 decades ago, that meant he left. Get him back in, give him a stake, and that won't be financially motivated by Newey, that will be symbolic. He wants to feel like it's his team, and he can play a part in rebuilding that team to what it once was. I think that challenge is probably unlikely, but there will be part of Newey that would actually quite like that. So every Formula One team will be on the phone to him. But what will get him through the door if he does want to continue is the type of challenge. He doesn't want lots of money. He doesn't even just want a team where you say, look, you'll have lots of money. He wants something very specific to him. And I actually think Ferrari and
But
Williams as the
don't
long
they
shot
have
are
Rush?
the two ones that offer the obvious.
I mean, this is a really nice bot.
To battle!
Okay. Can we be lucky now? Oh shit. Yeah, sure, scammer. Yeah, sure. I mean, this is so fuck me. Oh shit, I skipped, eller stopped there. How? Why? This is so fucking. Yeah, this is. Man. Fuck me. How likely is it that this will happen?
I've got the beast in my sight.
Reporting for duty.
At least I can play stuff, but fuck me.
Amazing.
Yeah, can this ad be done? Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, thank you for the fucking man.
Ascension WoW is a standalone World of Warcraft private server that reimagines WoW in a brand
Oh my
new
god,
way.
one more scam,
Instead
man.
of choosing a classic character select, you'll instead take up the mantle of hero. Mix and match spells and talents from any class in the game to forge your own unique champion. Challenge them against a classic
Nope,
vanilla plus
we
setting
didn't
with
finish
new
any
original
fucking
content. Discover 1,500 new abilities and talents. Team up with allies to conquer dungeons, raids, and battlegrounds. Explore new mechanics, new challenges, and entirely new game modes like the Mana Storm. An endless wildcard dungeon you can play solo or with friends. Anyone can play for free on Ascension just by creating an account. If you've never played WoW before, you can experience the wonder of Azeroth for the first time. If you're a WoW veteran, you can use your knowledge to craft an insanely powerful hero. Explore Azeroth Reimagined. Forge your ultimate classless hero. Welcome to Ascension WoW.
Yeah, nice.
Not long ago.
Yeah, done with that. Fuck me, just because I clicked on the wrong... fuck me, I don't care about the race. I feel like it's time for the F1 Nation podcast. Yes. Let's see, and then would go newest future, the Hulkenberg stuff, move, more sprint drama, and yeah, whatever they will be talking about. And while they are maybe giving some good information or not, I mean, Tom Clarkson. Continue with finding fishes. Well, let's see, we remove that. And then we need to go 353. 353. Is that? 353. No, wrong. So soon 400.
Hello and welcome to F1 Nation's preview of the Miami Grand Prix. Joining me, Tom Clarkson, we have Sky F1 presenter Natalie Pinkham. Hello, Pinks.
Morning.
And we have German journalist at Motorsport magazine, Christian Meynat. Christian, how are you?
Hi, Tom.
Must be for the Hulkenberg and also new fish, maybe for the collection. This is a great start.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to have you with us. Now, Pinks, before we talk Formula One, I think congratulations are in order. Tell us about the London Marathon.
So it was my first ever marathon. It was brilliant, I think. I loved it. First half, just wildly ecstatic, overwhelming, like the noise and the energy was just brilliant. And then bang, sniper shot to the right knee, bang, sniper shot to the right hip. Well, it felt like it anyway. 16-mile mark.
One more fish
God,
for the
pain,
collection.
right up there with childbirth. But
did you stop? Did you walk?
No, I never stopped.
Oh, it's cyan.
Do you know what? I don't want to sound like some sort of hero.
Fucking
because I'm
100%
definitely
cyan.
not. But that just was never an option. I was like, I'm never going to stop. But I did slow down very, very much. So I was on for a sub 4, and then I ended up 450.
I think that's amazing.
So
I think that is amazing.
No, it's definitely not amazing.
And are you ever going to break into a run again, or is that it? You're done with marathons now?
Yeah, I definitely think I can understand why people think it's addictive because, again, a bit like childbirth, you go, never again, and then a few days later you go, oh, go on then. That was lovely, really.
Well,
really? Maybe the end, but not the beginning and the middle part.
Actually, the contrasting fortunes of you two is pretty extreme this week because while Nat's been running marathons, Christian, you've been doing anything but, haven't you? How's the leg?
It's okay now. I can already walk a little bit, so I won't complain. I wish the story was a bit more adventurous or whatever. I just moved house. No, I just moved house and fell down the stairs, so not that exciting.
Yeah, that's not good. Well, marathon next year?
Probably not.
You know what? I was so heartened by how many F1 fans were lining the route. Definitely not for me, but I just loved looking out there and seeing like Ferrari caps and Mercedes hoodies. Martin Brundle came down with his kids. Loads of my mates were there. It was just, such a buzz. And, you know, that they'd obviously just finished watching the Chinese Grand Prix and then skipped down to line the streets of London.
One more fish
you're
for the
my hero
collection.
for doing that.
Oh, stop
all I did in China was have my
Red and
usual
orange.
marathon
Yeah,
morning
red
fry-up.
and orange.
And so I was thinking of you. But look, talking of China, I haven't spoken to either of you since the race. Very quickly, what did you make of the whole weekend, Pinks?
Mercedes don't know how to make a car good. That you can clearly see.
Were you even able to watch it, or?
I was refreshing my phone as I was stretching at the marathon start line. Actually, I've got the Garmin was flashing up with F1 updates, and people kept coming over to me saying, "What's happening in the race?" So, I wasn't able to watch it live, but I was getting regular updates. It sounds like I missed a good one.
It was a cracking race, actually. I mean, Max dominant. Okay, what's new there? But Lando Norris was superb.
Amazing.
Yeah. Christian, what did you make of it all?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost interesting. Some stuff was, I mean, like Leclerc with Norris, never happened. Could Perez do anything? No. I mean, the only interesting fight that actually happened was between was it Kevin Magnussen and Stroll for the last position or second last position. I mean, man.
Yeah, I like the sprint quite a lot.
That's amazing.
Unfortunately, during the Grand Prix, the safety car destroyed a bit the games of the strategy.
True.
That would have been.
I feel like it always do. And then it's bring up another strategy that you, could this work? No.
Very interesting one without the safety cars. But the sprint was fantastic, and also the new format, I think, worked out pretty well.
Now, there are reports that Adrian Newey is set to leave Red Bull. Reportedly, he's told the team he wants to leave.
Yeah, and this was, I don't know how far off. But the news is, Adrian Newey will leave Red Bull 2025, the first quarter.
Ron, there's no comment or confirmation from Red Bull or Adrian himself. But
there is
if
now.
True, the ramifications are huge. Newey's
Or maybe not. Maybe the team they already have is already that good.
widely regarded as the greatest designer of all time, spells with Williams, McLaren and Red Bull have seen his cars win 12 constructors titles, 13 drivers titles and more than 200 races. He was behind the RB19 that dominated last season and helped Max Verstappen win a record 10 races in a row, and this year's car continues to set the pace with 4 wins from the opening 5 Grand Prix. Now, his contract isn't set to expire until the end of 2025, but if the reports are true, what would Newey's departure mean for Red Bull? Let's start with that.
It's massive, isn't it? So, if you lose someone with that knowledge, not only a genius by being very creative with his ideas, but also the knowledge you lose from any team member who is serving so long in one team and in the sport, in Formula One, it's massive in my opinion. I know that some people...
So, all the people Mercedes have lost. Is that proof that Mercedes will never come back? To maybe winning races, but not winning championship or construction.
It's always a team of engineers, and it's not one genius who is building these cars nowadays. That might be true, but in my very limited knowledge, I can just imagine Adrian Newey being someone like a maestro of an orchestra. And Christian Horner described Max Verstappen as driving like a metronome. doing everything perfectly all the time. But I think the metronome in the engineer's office is Adrian Newey. He's the maestro of all the engineers in Milton Keynes, and I think they will miss quite a lot with him.
The greatest, most influential figure in F1 history, and will have an impact well into the future. They're not my words, those of Mark Webber. Before I even joined the sport, he told me this. I said, here's the biggest person in F1, and I was kind of expecting him to say Bernie or maybe one of the drivers. He said Adrian Newey, without a doubt. So I don't think we can ever underestimate the value he brings to sport and the kind of the culture, if you like, that he's been able to develop at Red Bull. I completely agree with Christian. And he's like a conductor of the orchestra. Yes, okay, his lieutenants may be putting into action a lot of his theories, but you're telling me that anybody would go against his theories or his design ethics, whatever you want to call them. This guy is a genius, and I think the narrative that has been peddled lately suits an agenda to say that perhaps his influence on the team has diminished.
No, brown
I just
and
don't
yellow.
think it's true. I don't buy into it one bit, and I think they will massively miss him more than any driver that would come or go from that team. Max is phenomenal, but Max openly admits that it's the machinery beneath him that makes the difference.
And his experience bank, what Christian referred to, is going to be needed more than ever when we go into the 2026 rule changes, right? I mean, I think the status quo is set fair for the remainder of this year and 2025 because the aero rules open up for 2026 on the 1st of January 2025. So all of the design offices and wind tunnels are going to be focused on 26, and those 40 years in the sport that Newey has in that amazing brain of his.
Yes, but he will be late because, yeah, the first quarter he's still oh yeah, he will leave the first quarter, right? Yeah, he will still be in Red Bull for the first quarter for 2025. Then he will leave. Then it will maybe be 1 year. So or maybe for him it will maybe even be more than 1 year. Who knows? I mean, he can maybe still think about it and work, you can say, without working. But yeah, let's see what he will
Are going to help.
do.
Any team that he goes to is going to want that as they're preparing for 2026. So where's he going to go? That's the next thing. Does he just want to retire and go and sit on a beach? I doubt it. He's too competitive for that. The Adrian I know and speak to is restless. He wants to do things. He wants to design. He still loves it.
There is no way that this guy should retire, in my opinion. We talk about drivers perhaps, you know, being a bit over the hill in terms of their physical capability of driving a car, but his brain power hasn't diminished. And if you think about the way he was able to draw upon his previous experience from the ground effect era all those years ago, which he nailed back then, to now, you know, this is a guy that has got so much to offer the sport. And, you know, he could really name his price tag, can't he? Not that it's about money for him. I mean, he's probably one of the most humble, modest people I know. You would never know this was a hugely successful man because he's just, you know, a very normal, down-to-earth human being and, you know, a phenomenal man, a phenomenal brain. And ultimately, his influence on the 2022 layout was instrumental. And everything since then has been an evolution. So how on earth can you say that he's not continuing to have an impact on the team, and will do so until there's another key regulation change?
I wonder if you get tired of the pressure to constantly deliver, right?
No, I believe more that he didn't like Didn't like the how all the news have been on Red Bull / Christian Horner. Why be part of a team that have maybe not big problems, but the media is talking like they have big problems?
The whole design office is looking at him for inspiration. Do you just wake up one day and go, do you know what, I'm 65.
And also more likely get questioned about it when he just want to do anything than talking to the media.
Done this for 40 years.
Look, I can't speak for him, but the only comparison I can make is to my mum. And I can't reveal how old she is publicly because she'll kill me. But she is older than Adrian, and she said it is working in law, being a barrister, that keeps her young. And I can only assume that the same can be said for Adrian. What's he going to go and do? Just play golf, cycle? That's not going to stimulate him the way Formula One does. I think pressure, he laps it up, doesn't he?
But I think he can drive some cars himself. He likes it quite a lot to go on the racetrack. And there were the stories that he was seen in Bologna airport recently, and most of the people thought, okay, that's it. He's going to Ferrari. But actually, according to my information, he was driving around in Mugello.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I heard that too. Brilliant.
Well, guys, I spoke to Adrian on F1 Beyond the Grid last year,
Oh,
and I asked him whether he regrets not having Ferrari on his CV.
Emotionally, I guess, to a point, yes. But just as, for instance, working with Fernando or Lewis would have been fabulous, but it never happened. It's just circumstance. Sometimes that's the way it is.
Aha, but he could get both. Fear not, my friend.
Well, let's work on the assumption he's going to stay in Formula One. Is Ferrari the most likely home?
Yes.
I hope and I think so as well. There would be a dream team: Ferrari, Lewis, Aidan Newey. I think that's the missing part of the puzzle, isn't it?
They've come after him a couple of times before. He said no both times. And one of the reasons has always been that he doesn't want to move to Italy. He wants to stay living in England. Do you think that will change? Or do you think Ferrari would be open to setting up a design office in the UK, as they've done before back in the late 80s with John Barnard down in Guildford?
Yeah, funnily enough, I just saw a snippet of your interview with Adrian, and I listened to Adrian, what he said to you, and he said that he doesn't believe this is the right system. And then he referred to the sister team as well, and he said, yeah, I know that they are doing it like that, but I don't think it's right. And I cannot imagine Adrian doing things where he's not convinced of. So I doubt that he will run Ferrari from the UK. I think if it's going to happen, he will move to Maranello. And my personal opinion, I would prefer Maranello over Milton Keynes, to be honest.
True.
I think it's also worth considering, TC, the efforts that Red Bull did go to keep him when Mercedes were dominating, and you could tell that Adrian, all the team were getting frustrated, and they gave him the Valkyrie project, something of a passion project, if you like, to, I don't want to say distract, but to entertain him. They know that they need to keep him stimulated and engaged. And ultimately, it wasn't enough, because he did come back to the paddock, and we were seeing him present again at races. And
yeah, but they were probably mostly now the car or the Honda engine is actually good now. Stuff can actually be done. The stuff, all the work you're doing actually goes to a car that actually can show they can win, or the car can win. So that mostly, so you can be true that the car, making a car wasn't enough, because now we see that the Formula One car is better.
Clearly, he felt, and as did the team, that he could have an impact. So I don't think that there's any lengths that teams won't go to engage him. It's kind of, what floats his boat at this stage of his career. And I would assume, and again, I can't speak for him, but being at the cutting edge of design and being a trailblazer as he's been all these years, is exactly what stimulates him and will do well into his 80s, 90s. He's the Fernando Alonso of design.
Well,
Just let him keep going.
1, 2,
this next contract
3, 4,
is probably going to be his last one, a bit like
6, 7,
Alonso's at Aston Martin. And Pinks
9.
have segued into that. I mean, okay, Ferrari is one option, and it would be a fantastic option. But what about Aston Martin working with Alonso? You know, there's been a lot of chat in the paddock that Lawrence Stroll has already made a mega bucks offer for him, and it would see him reunited with Dan Fallows, who he worked with, of course, at Red Bull for many years. It would see him stay in England, if that is still a factor for him. Do we think it's likely? Do we
Nope.
think, you know, and let's not forget the facilities now at the campus at Silverstone at Aston Martin are second to none, you know, so he'd have everything that he needed to continue dominating the sport.
And he gets, as you say, to work with Fernando as well, which is, we know, is him and Lewis, the two that he wants to work with.
Yeah, but Ferrari and Lewis sounds more interesting than Aston Martin.
I actually think it'd be a really good fit. I did directly ask Mike Crack the question, has an offer been made to Adrian Newey? He said no, but he also laughed at the same time. So I don't know. He hasn't got a very good poker face.
I've got a conspiracy theory.
1,
on this,
2,
and that,
3, 4.
You know, the
5,
Alonso announcement
6
after
spot defeaters.
Suzuka was very sudden, and
Yeah.
you know, he said, "Well, we sat. I decided after Suzuka, he drove a great race, as he seems to every race at the minute. But he drove a great race in Japan, and he came back to Europe and said, right, I want to continue. And Aston Martin are my only choice. And there was a massive rush to get the announcement out. I remember that Thursday we were given 2 hours' notice of, you know, join Fernando Alonso on a Zoom call this evening to discuss his new contract. And I found myself thinking, why the hurry? Why this massive need to get the news out there as quickly as possible? And I just wonder whether they got wind of some discontent at Red Bull between Adrian and the team, and they just thought, right, we've got to go, we've got to swoop. We've already made Adrian this amazing deal. Let's get the news that the star driver's staying out there as quickly as possible and try and twist his arm a bit and give him even more incentive to get out there. Every day counts at this stage of the negotiation.
Tom is working in Formula 1 for too long now. You see, he's thinking like all the others now.
Right. Doesn't miss a trick. Yeah.
But what do you guys think? What about the likelihood of Aston Martin?
I would agree, and you've heard what Adrian said about Fernando, that he would like to work with him. What Lawrence does with Aston Martin is absolutely amazing. You've all seen the facilities there.
Yes, everything except the drivers he signed, because he signed Lance Stroll. That is just the worst thing he is doing.
It's more than 5-star. It's incredible. But then you need probably also a driver pairing which stands up to that standard, and in my opinion it doesn't. And it could be a bit frustrating for a genius like Adrian Newey to give everything to build the best car possible, but then not have to a driver pairing to deliver it.
Well, we're awaiting news on Lance Stroll, aren't we?
I think that Lawrence is so ambitious and so tenacious in his pursuit of excellence that he won't settle for anything but Adrian Newey within the team. He'll do whatever it takes. You know.
Really? Even removing Lance Stroll? I mean, come on. If that's true, please Adrian Newey, join Aston Martin. Make, what's it called, Lawrence Stroll kick Lance Stroll finally, and maybe put in, who should they put in if they kick Lance Stroll? I mean, I would want Drugovic, but maybe Yuki Tsunoda could be a good deal. Or everyone except Lance Stroll would be good in that.
As you say, Christian, the facility, re-signing Fernando, he's relentless in his pursuit of excellence. And you know, there is no one better than Adrian Newey.
Well, as is Toto Wolff. And could Adrian be, you know, forgive the pun, but
I don't think Mercedes will be on his mind. No, why would he join that? Let's see, black, purple. Yes.
But the silver bullet that team needs to get it back to get it back, you know, back.
Like I said, more likely that he will make and they go back to Williams than Mercedes.
To the front.
That's the biggest surprise for me. That there are rumors about Adrian joining Aston Martin, that there are a lot of rumors of Adrian joining Ferrari, but not so many rumors about Adrian.
Man, why should it be rumors for that? You have nothing to gain joining that team.
Joining Mercedes, but they would need Adrian more than any other team on the grid. They are completely lost at the moment, even if they wouldn't say so, but I think they are lost since years now. They would need someone like Adrian, and even more important, they are trying to convince Max Verstappen to join the team. And if you want to convince Max Verstappen to join Mercedes, then what else can you do than bring Adrian Newey to Mercedes? So in my opinion, this would be the biggest mistake of Toto Wolff, not trying to bring Adrian Newey to Mercedes.
Any other project, he's not going to win in the short term. I think turning Mercedes round is going to take a few years, because even if he goes in and has great ideas immediately, I think James Allison, the technical director there, has already said that their simulation tools aren't good enough, and he's going to need a bit of a revamp there. I think it's the same at Ferrari. How's that going to work if he goes there? The team
Oh
where
my
I think
God.
he could walk in and have everything that he needs.
I have done some. Now look at this. 562. It should be 362. Man, that would be amazing to have 562. Okay, back to F1 Nation.
It's around him immediately is Aston Martin. I think they do have the setup there now, but keep an eye on Formula1.com and the F1 app for any developments as to what's happening with Adrian Newey.
Yeah, and that information is clear now. He will leave in the first quarter of 2025.
Let's move on to the driver market now, because late last week, news broke that Nico Hülkenberg is leaving Haas and joining Sauber next year, and of course that team becomes Audi in 2026. It's a huge development, and well, Christian, how's that news been received in Germany?
It's fantastic news for Formula One in Germany, as I think our country has been a bit underrepresented recently in Formula One in terms of drivers. So I think it's fantastic news for us. It's fantastic news for Hülkenberg. He knows the team. He has been with Sauber in the past. He has been with Andreas Seidl in the past with Porsche, so they know each other very well. And I think that was part of the decision making, that he knew what he gets from Hülkenberg. It's fantastic news for all of them.
Yeah, of course, he won Le Mans in 2015 with Andreas Seidl and Porsche. So what does this mean for the second seat now? Do Bottas...
Well, I was about to say, it's fantastic news as well for Ollie Behrman for Haas, because there is a clear pathway.
Yep, so Ollie Behrman is going to be doing 6 FP1s for Haas this year, and as you say, Pinks, clear pathway for him to take that second seat at Haas in 2025. But look, what does this mean for Valtteri?
Yeah. Really bad news for Valtteri Bottas and Jürgen Joe, I would say.
Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, because now there's only one seat available at Sauber for next year. Do we think that Bottas and Zhou are in pole position to get that, or is Carlos Sainz going to be the man?
Carlos Sainz.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think Bottas has actually had a decent upturn in form of late. I mean, he's been brilliant the last couple of races. I really like Joe as well. I think they're both really good teammates. I think they gel pretty much with anyone. They're not difficult, are they? I can see that the Sainz-Hülkenberg pairing would grab the headlines a bit more, and obviously Sainz needs to secure a seat, you know, and should really have his pick given his run of form. But I could see there being more fireworks between Hülkenberg and Sainz than, say, Hülkenberg and Bottas or Hülkenberg and Joe. You know, what dynamic are you looking for within the team?
2 quick drivers, Pinks, I think.
Yeah, but it's a gamble. It's a gamble as well, because I think Bottas is a really quick driver, and
Yeah, he's so quick. But I mean, I would say, let's see, is that a, it should be, yep, white and blue. No, that's a normal. I mean, I don't see this Bottas is quick or Bottas is a good driver. I would say he's good enough to be in Formula 1, but not good enough to be one of the greats. And I would say, feel like Carlos Sainz, it's somewhat better than Bottas. And if that's because of the age, more interesting to be in Formula 1. Because Bottas will never be like Alonso. Just wanna be that we do a great job in whatever the car is. While Bottas is like everything need to be perfect for him to be just good.
He's a good teammate. He's a good person to work with. But unless there's a better option for Sainz out there, which there probably would be, I would rather see Sainz at Red Bull, for example.
But when you say Valtteri and Joe, they are fantastic teammates, does it mean for you that Hulkenberg and Sainz, they wouldn't be good teammates?
I don't know. I could just see there being...
One
I
new
could be
fish
wrong, but
for the
I could see there
collection.
being a few clashes there.
Ooh.
I think they're both like no bullshit guys. I think they would get along pretty well.
The truth is, you never really know. I mean, we made this massive thing about Ocon and Gasly not getting on well. They're fine.
Well,
Yeah,
because
they are no. I wouldn't say fine. The car is so bad that they can't try to make the... What can you call it? The team fight. The fuck do you say? It's so much, so little to fight for, and even if they can fight, or even you can say, if they are fighting, you don't see it because the car is so bad.
They're at the back. I think if they were gunning for world championships, I think it might be different between them.
I think that's the point. If Hulkenberg and Sainz both went to Sauber together to become Audi, both of them would want to be the team leader because they're both very experienced, they're both very quick, and they're both great guys, and they're both good team players. Could they both be the team leader, I suppose, is the question that I'm asking.
Do you need a team leader these days in Formula 1?
I think so. I think the driver wants to mould a team around themselves. It's human nature, isn't it? You want to be the main voice within that team.
Well, when we're discussing Carlos Sainz, I think we need to bring in Kimi Antonelli into the conversation because Toto Wolff wants Antonelli at Mercedes long term.
Yeah, and he also wants Max Verstappen. I feel like he won't Lewis Hamilton back.
It's just
maybe.
a question of, is he going to be ready in 2025 or does he get given to another team to learn the ropes and then comes back to Mercedes in a few years' time? And, the talk in China last weekend is that Antonelli is going to be in the second Williams alongside Alex Albon from the summer break onwards. He turns 18 at the end of August. I think, funnily enough, Williams are actually asking the FIA for special dispensation to, Max drove a Formula 1 car, raced in Formula 1, age 17. Why can't Kimi Antonelli? But I think the rules are now set, and I don't think there will be a dispensation. So I see Antonelli in the Williams second half of the season replacing Logan Sargent, and then I think James Vowles won't settle for anything less than 18 months. So Mercedes are going to be looking for a 1-year stopgap in my book. That doesn't appeal for Carlos Sainz. He's going to want a longer term contract than that.
True.
So I wonder whether Bottas could be that stopgap for Mercedes in 2025. He knows the team very well. He's won 10 races.
Man, that's mean. They make Bottas leave when Lewis Hamilton won't team still there. And when he leave, they bring Bottas back.
And it would be a much better option for him than anything else that's on the table. So if Bottas ends up at Mercedes, then I think Sainz's options become Red Bull or Audi, and I think he'll look longer term and think Audi is a better long-term bet.
Red Bull
funnily
is
enough,
not
than
on the
Red Bull
table.
because of all the changes and the commitment of Audi and Red Bull powertrains and all the question marks around that.
It's just such a massive game of musical chairs, isn't it? The music stops, make sure you've got a chair to sit in. It's amazing. And you know, every decision has a ramification, has a consequence. It's fascinating to watch it all play out.
To be completely honest, I haven't thought about the comeback of Valtteri at Mercedes. So
I know.
that's interesting, yeah.
If they only want Bottas for 1 year, why not bring him Mick Schumacher in? Have him be there for 1 year. A redemption arc maybe. Show that he can actually be somewhat good. And then when the year is up, he can maybe stay. Well, he showed that he can be good in Formula 1.
For 1 year, it would make sense for both of them.
Without crashing.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that one. It's a good point. About Audi and Sainz, there have been a lot of stories about having that deadline where Carlos needs to decide. So I think that's just not correct. So from what I've heard is that there has never been a hard deadline. It wouldn't make sense for Audi. Why would they make a hard deadline for Carlos Sainz to give his decision? There is no better option, in my opinion, than Carlos Sainz out on the driver's market for Audi. So why would you give him a hard deadline? That doesn't make any sense. They just have to wait now what happens at Red Bull, if Max is leaving or he's not leaving, because Max and Carlos together at Red Bull, I just cannot imagine that pairing for the moment. So Carlos obviously is waiting for Max's decision, because if that Red Bull seat is available, I think he would be stupid not to take it at least into consideration.
I think Verstappen will stay at Red Bull for 2025, because I think he'd be giving up another world championship if he were to walk away. And he says he's not interested in statistics, but why wouldn't you want to? He loves winning. Even if he doesn't count the number of wins, he loves winning. He gets a massive kick.
Yeah, so why leave Red Bull?
To me, where Max Verstappen ends up in 2026 is the key to the driver market.
But Tom, then the question for me is, in 2026, if he is free to move, now with all the things happening at Red Bull at the moment, there could be a chance to get out of his contract that usually would go until 2028. So in 2026, when things have settled a little bit at Red Bull, I'm not sure if there is a chance to leave Red Bull for 2026. Then there could be performance-related clauses in his contract that he could leave for 2027. But then he probably has to, I don't know what happens in 2026. Anything can happen.
He can leave 2025, not 2026. He can leave 2027. Fuck. Why can't he leave 2026?
But if he really wants to leave Red Bull for whatever reasons, there would be the chance to do it in 2025.
Well, let's bring it on to...
Man, that sounds retarded, but sure. They cook him. What do you mean leaving 2025 for 2026? Because that is the most likely scenario.
Miami now, guys. We have a race this coming weekend. it's the third Miami Grand
sprint
Prix,
race.
and I don't know who we see as favourites. It's probably Red Bull, but the team that I'm really intrigued about this weekend is McLaren, because at a racetrack they didn't expect to go well at in
You're not hyped for Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton finally being good in Formula 1?
Lando Norris came home second, drove a brilliant race. They've got upgrades coming for this Miami Grand Prix.
Oh my god, can Norris maybe fight with Max for the win? Or could this be the race when Max crash out and Norris get his first win in Formula 1?
Where is it going to leave them? Quite simply, what can McLaren do in Miami, Christian?
Probably nothing.
I think if everything goes well, the same as in China. I doubt that Max will be in reach for them. I think they are still fighting more against Ferrari, Mercedes, Fernando.
Not machine. Stop. Just look at how Lewis Hamilton was in that race. He was not even near a fight in the top.
Then they are fighting against Red Bull. But it's going to be interesting what kind of step they make with the upgrade package they will bring. Andrea Stella already said that it's not as big as the upgrades they had last year. I mean, they were big game changers last year. You cannot expect them to bring updates like that every year. But it's very interesting. Also, sprint weekend with the new format, it's probably a bit more interesting to bring some updates. So I'm going to be really interested in how they are going to do it. If they bring it on one car for the sprint and then having it on both cars for the Grand Prix or whatever, because of the Parc Fermé rules, you could do something like that. Then you have some very good data with two different cars. So that's going to be a really, really interesting weekend for McLaren and for the whole Formula One paddock.
I mean,
there
it
aren't
could,
any really
but
fast corners in Miami. It's effectively a street track, and so I think we're not going to see Red Bull have the advantage they've had at the last two races at Suzuka and in China. I think Max obviously is still going to be the benchmark. I could see Perez though being vulnerable to a Lando Norris stellar performance. And Christian, what do you need from your car in Miami? Who's it going to suit?
I think you need a bit of everything. So we talk a lot about compromises in Formula One, and in Miami the first sector is pretty fast, pretty technical, fast corners, then that very long left-hand corner, then we have long straights, and then you have the very, very slow speed sections. But I think that could be a problem for Ferrari because they haven't been very strong in low speed corners recently. I can imagine they are struggling a little bit there, but Red Bull has the best all-rounder in the field, so I expect them to be the leader of the class once again.
Tell us more about Ferrari and the season they've had so far, Christian. What do you make of it?
It was a bit strange because it looked like their car is faster now in any circumstances, but in China it wasn't, and that's a big question mark, I think, not only for me.
I mean, that's because it also was a sprint race. Remember that. Like, come on, think.
But also for their engineers, because they expected to be a lot stronger there, especially in the race, especially on Sunday in the Grand Prix, where McLaren was definitely the faster race car, and that was very surprising. I think McLaren, they were surprised themselves. But for Ferrari, it looked very consistent the whole season, apart from China. Of course, China was a bit of a strange one with having the first sprint weekend, with having a new tarmac in terms of not having a resurfaced tarmac, but
yeah, everything was new.
In the end was new, and they didn't know what to expect from. So I think China was a bit of an outlier, but in general Ferrari is much more consistent this year, but just not fast enough to challenge Max properly.
Fred Vasseur said they made too many mistakes in China, which was the first time they've done that this year. If there's one thing that's been really impressive is the lack of mistakes. They've been strategically on point. They've been, from a setup point of view, on point. The car, the drivers have all performed.
Yeah, except Leclerc's side, that have been off a lot.
Really well. The first mistake that we've seen Carlos Sainz do was his spin, of course, in qualifying in China. But
I would say every qualifying for Leclerc is a failure.
Any mistakes was what.
Or mistakes.
Yeah, but operationally, they ramped up the game massively during the last years. It was really impressive to see Ferrari as strong as they were this year. As you say, probably the first mistake. I mean, Charles had a little bit of problems in qualifying. It seems like he sorted it out a little bit, not at 100% yet, but I'm really surprised from Ferrari. I mean, I expected them to be a lot stronger than they were last year because they had a lot of scope in that car, because they just had the side impact structure at the wrong place. They could change that over the winter, so there was a lot of room for improvement just coming from that, in my opinion, but they seem to have done the job properly and also operationally. So
getting in
on Carlos Sainz's side, I would say, but not Leclerc's side. His qualifying is so bad. Last year, pole position, and this year, not the. I don't know. What's it? 4 of top 5. See, can't see that. Oh shit, we should stop the game and let's see. How have the qualifying been for Charles Leclerc? First race qualifying, and we do this. Okay, that he did a good job. Saudi Arabia. Really? Okay, now is back to. Okay, so the beginning, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia are good. But they get 5. Then we have Japan. Fuck me. 8. Then China, at least 6. So at least the 2 first races, they've done a great job. But not after that.
Little bit spicy.
And hopefully they fix that, because man, it's so annoying seeing Charles Leclerc being so far down when he should be high up.
You see between their drivers. You mean in the sprint in China, you know, there was.
I think that's just a heat of the moment thing.
Almost
I don't
6
think that's
for
anything to
now.
worry about longer term. I think they're both too intelligent for that.
But they're both super competitive, Pinks, and
Of course
Carlos
they are,
Sainz
of
is
course they
fighting
are.
for his
And
future, isn't he?
He's fighting for his future, and Charles is also fighting for his reputation, because he wants to remind people.
Yeah, and hopefully he will, because they should be much better than Carlos Sainz. I mean, he always better in the race, and when he starts doing good in qualifying, Carlos Sainz will be so washed.
People why Ferrari stuck with him and not Carlos. And, you know, Carlos has outshone Charles so far this season. You know, he's claimed all the headlines with his heroics after surgery. So, yeah, of course, you know, and they're competitive creatures. But I also think...
And also, every win Carlos Sainz got could have been an easy Charles Leclerc win. I mean, the first win, Silverstone, Carlos Sainz more or less ruined Charles' race by being so slow and making so when the safety car happens, they don't pit Charles Leclerc and make Carlos Sainz get the new tires and then ruin Charles Leclerc's race win. And then 2023, the Singapore, Carlos Sainz succeeded to out qualifying Charles Leclerc. That then lead to Charles Leclerc being behind Carlos Sainz, and when the safety car or the pit stop happens, Carlos Sainz is the first one in, and Charles Leclerc more or less gets his race ruined to help Carlos Sainz. Oh, one new fish for the collection. Hopefully. And then this year, 2024. Oh, what race was that? Let's see. What race? Wait, what? Didn't Carlos Sainz win? Yeah. Oh my. Oh fuck me! It's qualifying. I'm looking at. Here we have the race. Let's see. The qualifying. Yeah. The time Charles Leclerc do bad qualifying. Oh shit. Go away. Max have a bad race and then Color Science get an easy win. Well, easy. It looked really easy. When Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, they had nothing to try to get past Color Science. So I would say only this year they did more or less a race. I need more buckets. A race when he was better than Charles Leclerc. But if Charles Leclerc started P2, behind Color Science, then it would probably be an easy win for Charles Leclerc.
Once, the adrenaline calms down a bit, they'll reflect on that and recognise they've got to do the right thing by the team.
You mentioned the adrenaline. Did you listen to the team radio of Leclerc? He forgot to push the radio button a second time, so the radio was still on and you could hear him breathe after that battle with Carlos.
Yes.
That was amazing. That showed you how intense the battle was. And
amazing. Why would that be amazing? I mean, that fight is so unnecessary. So, I mean, he didn't get past Fernando Alonso and then ruined his car. Why fighting Charles Leclerc now? That's so weird.
It's what they are feeling inside the cockpit.
I agree, and I loved hearing it because you felt the commitment, didn't you? You could hear it in his breath.
He was. I reckon he was Natalie Pinkham at about mile 16 of the London Marathon. But Charles isn't a political animal, is he? He seems to have got on with all of the teammates he's had. He sort of does his talking on the track and tries to have good relationships with them off it. So I kind of agree with you, Pence, that I don't think it'll flare up longer term, but I think we could see it continue to get spicy. Funnily enough, I heard Nico Rosberg talking about what happened when him and Lewis Hamilton were having their clashes at Mercedes in 2016, and after their race-ending crash on the opening lap of the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, Toto took them to one side and said, right, next time that happens and no one is to blame and no other car other than yours is involved, you two are going to foot the bill for the accident damage. And Nico said that his share of that damage in Spain was something like 300,000 euros.
Small change for him. What's he worried about?
But it's
true.
You know, when you hit drivers in their pocket, it doesn't half make them focus on keeping it clean. And I can't see. I wonder whether Fred Vasseur will pursue a similar
one more fish
threat,
for the collection.
if it continues at Ferrari. But
nope.
That was the Toto Wolff way of dealing with it.
Interestingly, Ferrari are going to be racing with a different livery in America because they're Hewlett-Packard partnership. I'm not sure about this, TC, but for me, Ferraris have to be red. And it's like when I watch football and I see, or rugby, and I see the teams in a different colour than they're used to. I'm like, I'm thrown by it. And you're sort of distracted by it. And you're like, hang on a minute. Red is also a great winning colour. It's dominant, it's fierce, it's, dynamic. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, you are lucky that it will probably not be much blue. Probably just a logo.
Ooh, about the blue. But look, we'll see. Hopefully they can bounce back from the relative disappointment in China with a strong performance in pale blue.
Would you say that's the reason why Alpine is not winning?
Oh, there you go. It's all about the colour.
Actually, it's interesting you mention Alpine, Christian, because they looked a little bit more racy in China. The chassis was a bit lighter. They had an upgraded floor on
more racy.
Car.
Can maybe get 1 point. That is progress. Almost like Mercedes progress.
Gasly's going to get the upgrades in Miami. I feel that they're not out of the woods yet, don't get me wrong, but they're making progress.
Yeah, as soon as you lose weight, it's always a progress, because that's just guaranteed lap time. It doesn't matter how the wind tunnel or the CFD correlates to the track, it's just guaranteed lap time. So as soon as you lose weight, that's also what we have seen with Red Bull in 2022, when the car was too heavy at the beginning of the season. Once it lost the weight, it was the dominant car of that season. So I think that was a huge step for Alpine. Then the new floor they had, it seemed to work, but then the gap between Ocon and Gasly wasn't huge, and they were not in the same spec. So I'm not 100% sure how big the impact of the new floor was.
Probably
Talking of
nothing.
New chassis, lighter chassis. Daniel Ricciardo had a new chassis in China last time out. First time that he outqualified Yuki Tsunoda this season. Was going well in the race until, I don't know how we describe the accident with Lance Stroll, but until he was sort of leapfrogged, or almost leapfrogged by Lance Stroll under the safety car.
Underfrogged.
Yes.
He went under him, didn't he? Not over him.
Fun enough, you don't often see Daniel upset in the pen.
Angry.
He was angry, wasn't he?
Told you a lot. Well, I think he expected a lot, and he, was really looking forward to his Chinese Grand Prix weekend, and for something sort of that avoidable to happen, to end his race,
it must be
so frustrating.
Yeah, or super annoying. Then you maybe hear the comments Lance Stroll may or may not have been made. Man, you will just you will not be happy.
100% the man in green is to blame, and I completely get why Daniel Ricciardo was so upset after. I've never seen him like that before, never. I think it takes a lot to make Daniel Ricciardo that angry, but it was not.
Your name just need to be Lance Stroll, and then you will make him really angry. Oh, arrows. Yeah, let's go and place the rest
Not
down.
only the accident, it was also because what Lance said on the radio, and also what Lance said after the race. I think Daniel hasn't heard that when he was so angry. So for me, it's going to be really interesting. It's probably one of the most interesting media days of the whole season we're going to see in Miami, just because Daniel Ricciardo said he's going to read what Lance said after the race. Perhaps he calmed down a bit, and with an hour or so, he reviewed the accident and says, okay, it was my mistake. But as far as I've seen, that didn't happen. So I'm really looking forward to that media day and what Daniel Ricciardo is going to say.
And also, you earn so much respect if you just own it, if you just own a moment. And
True.
Look, everybody is unanimous in their reflections on what happened, maybe apart from Lance. Just own it. Just say sorry, and you move on. And now, because he hasn't, as Christian says, Miami becomes a thing. You drag it into the next race.
Well, and Miami's going to be a thing for Daniel anyway, because he's carrying that 3-place grid penalty. Nothing to do.
Yeah, that's so fucking stupid. Why? It's so stupid.
With this incident with Lance Stroll, he passed Nico Hülkenberg under the safety car.
Yeah, but then...
So he's going to have his work cut out anyway.
When you say nothing to do with that accident, I think it has, because when he had that accident with Lance, Nico Hülkenberg overtook both of them. But he was allowed to do it because there was an obvious problem. And they were still behind the safety car before they passed the control line. So usually they wouldn't have been allowed to pass the other cars. But because they had an obvious problem, they were allowed to. So Nico was pretty fast in overtaking them because he was just behind. And Daniel Ricciardo felt it was not right for Nico to overtake him in that situation. So then the safety car came out the lap later, and Daniel Ricciardo asked the team first, okay, can I overtake Nico because he overtook me on the safety car? The team said, oh, we are checking, but Daniel said, I'm gonna take the position anyway. And he was already so angry under his helmet in that moment, just because he lost the chance of a good result with that accident, that he did this mistake, which he shouldn't do. There was, I think now he...
Yeah, how about Lance Stroll? Should he done that mistake? Nope.
Knows it as himself, but in the heat of the moment, it's understandable that he did what he did, unfortunately.
Pinks, this is out of character, Daniel, for me. We don't normally see him this angry. Is it, do you think, a result of all the pressure he's under at the minute?
don't know if it's about pressure, but I think it was about a missed opportunity, because I think China
True.
with the new chassis and he was going really well all weekend. This was his chance just to get his season back on track. And as I say, for something that was seemingly innocuous, avoidable, it just didn't have to happen. And it was a stupid mistake that had a massive impact on someone else. And,
And then you also get problems in the next race, man. Why is Lance Stroll still in the Formula 1?
totally understand his frustration at that.
Tom, can I give you a task for the press conferences
yellow.
in Miami?
Brilliant. I like a good task. Fire away.
Yellow,
So
pink,
let's go
yellow,
back
light.
1 year, looking at the Miami Grand Prix and what happened before. So I think it was the 5th race of the season, if I remember
Snooper.
correctly. We had 4 races, 2 won by Max Verstappen,
spotty
2 won
stripey.
by Sergio Perez. So 1 year later, the narrative is completely different. It's Max Verstappen winning everything. But coming into that
Grey
Miami
brown.
weekend last year, it was 2 wins Max, 2 wins Checo. So I would
What the fuck did they stop talking about Lance Stroll? What?
be really interested in what Max thought ahead of the Miami Grand Prix last year. If he thought, okay, I'm the big deal, I will win everything, and there was just some
Oh, fuck me.
outliers there,
Pink,
the
light,
first
grey.
races, or if he
Pink,
had
light, grey.
real doubts that Checo could challenge him. I would be really interested in his thoughts.
And particularly after he
White,
qualified down
blue.
in 9th after Charles' red flag in quali, and there was Perez up on pole. I think to take that one step on, Christian, after that race, when Max did carve through from
-1.
that was it. That was title over, because that was such a statement of intent. I mean, for Perez to lose it from pole to his teammate back in 9th just said everything. And I think from then on in, he probably did feel like the king.
Yeah, I think Pinks has just answered your question, actually, Christian. I don't think
Three-
Max Verstappen
369.
doubted for a second what was going to happen
I
long
should
term.
need to place
And
that down.
he is interesting in that when he's had a bad weekend or his back's against the wall, he always puts in a brilliant performance. I'm thinking of Suzuka last year after the difficulties they had
Oh,
in
shit,
Singapore, and again Suzuka this year actually after his retirement in Melbourne. He is the king of bouncing back after a difficult moment, and he's just not having any difficult moments now, and yet he's still dominating. But I'm guessing, to answer your question, I agree with Pinks. I think he never doubted what was going to happen in that race, and in a way that just showed his hunger. You know, you mentioned the press conferences, and the fascinating bit post-race is seeing the top 3 interacting before the cameras have come on. They've come in, they're hot, they're sweaty, and they're just talking among themselves. And I do remember several occasions last year where, Checo was broken. He would come in and he'd sort of sit in P2 or P3, wherever it was, Max in the middle, and they just sort of wouldn't talk. Max was very humble, would never rub it in what had just happened in the race, but just seeing sort of Checo staring into the middle distance, and Max and whoever
Thinking, what have I got to do?
yes, but it is fascinating just watching them, because it's the first time the 3 of them have sat together. Because
Oh my god, if you can see that so much in Perez, what do you see in Lewis Hamilton then? A depressed person that trying to say how happy he is when he's sad, right?
Race, okay, they have the interviews, they go to the podium, there's a brief chat in the cool down room, but then they go to, it's the first time where they're just in a calm environment and there's no cameras on them, and it's a real privilege to witness what's going on there.
Privilege.
So I'm really excited about the fact that F1 Academy returns to the grid for its second round in Miami. And that was, of course, after the Saudi race.
New fish for the collection.
I mean, Dorian Pan was just magnificent, but made that mistake, which had a huge impact when she didn't realise that the checkered flag had been waved. And I really felt for her in that moment, because, there's so much to process for these young drivers, and she just put in this incredible performance only to lose out on that win. But it does mean that the British hopeful Abby Pulling from Alpine is leading the championship. There was a test in Zandvoort which was wet, so how much you can read into it I don't know, but Abby was quickest there as well. And it should be exciting. Miami, a very different proposition to Jeddah, so a lot for the young ladies to get their heads round. Not a huge amount of data to go on, and yeah, I wonder how these hot, humid temperatures are going to affect them as well. There's a lot for them to grapple with. I love following their individual stories, and actually for someone like Dorian, who is obviously learning a lot in the process, but she does come with the infrastructure and the sort of mentorship, if you like, of Mercedes, which I think is vital in the development of her career. And I think the support that they give her between Jeddah and here will be crucial as to how she bounces back from that disappointment in Saudi Arabia.
Pinks, I spoke to Dorian after, well, what I thought was her win on Sunday in Saudi, and she was very cool, very calm. I was really impressed. She old head on young shoulders, and then of course she got the 20-second penalty and lost the win, so I didn't get a chance to speak to her after that, but she struck me as someone who knew exactly where she's going, and she was hugely quick. She was the dominant force there. Yes, as you say, Abby Pulling was quickest in the test at Zandvoort, but it was where, how much we can read into it, I don't know. Other than,
probably nothing.
Funnily enough, Rodin Motorsport were really quick, because Jess Edgar, I think, was quick in that test as well. So I wonder if they found something with the car. But anyway, exciting times. Looking forward to seeing.
Exciting times, absolutely, because I think the bigger picture is there's a huge
White,
amount
light,
of interest.
grey.
And the global spotlight will be on Miami. This is really the girls' chance to shine. And I know for a fact there is a lot of investment coming in. I know people that are now interested.
Yeah, investment. But how many people do actually care about this investment?
In the sport because of F1 Academy, and you know it's gathering real momentum now, and there's support up and down the F1 grid for each of these teams, which I think is going to be instrumental to their success, not just of the team success but the individual drivers in terms of their development as well. So yeah, I'm really pumped.
Lewis Hamilton was stood under the podium in Saudi when Dorian won the race, so
it tells me everything about him and his genuine commitment to supporting young women coming through the ranks. That's great. It's a symbolic gesture. It's such an important one. Yeah, we love him.
Not
for
seen
that.
it.
you can
and
watch
don't
F1
care.
Academy qualifying and the races in Miami on F1 TV or the F1 Academy YouTube and X channels on what is going to be a really busy weekend of racing in Miami, because of course
Yeah, I'm already watching Formula 2, Formula 3, and in the car I will not watch because I really don't care about that.
it's the second sprint weekend of the year, the second one in a row. A quick reminder of timings. On Friday there is free practice 1, and then that's followed by sprint qualifying. We wake up on Saturday morning early for a sprint race that is then followed by the qualifying for the Grand Prix, and then 57 laps of racing around the Miami International Autodrome on Sunday. It did feel weird, guys, having a race so early on a Saturday morning. In China, we're all sort of waking at 11 o'clock in the morning, all these blurry-eyed drivers.
I mean, I watch Formula 2 and Formula 3. They have races early. So this is not a surprise for me. Oh, new fish for the collection, hopefully.
Is making their way out onto the grid. But I agree with what Christian said right at the top of the show. I love the new format. I think it's a huge step forward. Having a separation between sprint, quali, sprint, race done, and then you move on to the serious bit of the weekend, if you like, of qualifying for the Grand Prix and then the Grand Prix itself on Sunday.
I assume it's a bit strange for the drivers to have a race and then go into qualifying. I think Max Verstappen said it himself in the press conference afterwards, that they had to readjust, that the track evolution wasn't huge during qualifying, but the driver evolution was a lot bigger than usual, because they just were not used to have the car with fresh tires and the light car. So that was very interesting to see, but in the end there was one guy who still made it better than all the other ones.
It looked like new fish. It was.
Right, team. Are you ready for a
new
quiz?
fish for the collection?
Because it is time to test your knowledge of the Miami Grand Prix on Quiz the Nation. Christian, are you aware?
Oh my God, this
you probably
quiz
are
stuff.
after what she said about the marathon, that Nats is very competitive. She is the Max Verstappen of this
No.
podcast. She does not like.
No. Max has got talent.
She does not like losing. Are you ready for this, Christian?
New fish for the
only
collection.
talent
Blue.
I have in common with Formula One drivers is the excuses. So I'm gonna need
Well,
them.
start writing your shopping list for this one because we've got
69.
3 rounds
Soon
qualifying the sprint
400.
and the race. And if the scores are level at the end, we'll go to the stewards for a tiebreaker. So, if you're ready, team, let's get started with the qualifying round. You'll each face one quick-fire question worth 1 point. And Christian, we'll start with you. Max Verstappen won the 2023 Miami Grand Prix, but which 2 drivers also finished on the podium last year?
Checo
Sergio Perez and Alonso.
and Fernando Alonso.
Oh, Pinks, he's good. He's good, Pinks. He's right. He has 1 point. All right, Pinks. Who stunned the rest of the field by qualifying in P4 for last year's race?
Oh, was it Magnussen?
Oh, this is a good competition this week. After the qualifying round, we have 1 point each. Well done, Pinks. Well done, Christian. So it's time for the sprint round 2. This is sudden death. And because we've only had 2 Miami
Very
Grand
dramatic.
Prix, we're going a bit left field this week.
Actually,
and I
true.
want you to name the 12 different tracks that have hosted Formula One World Championship Grand Prix in the United States. You'll each take it in turn to give an answer, and the last person standing wins a point. All right, so we're after the tracks that have hosted World Championship Grand Prix in the US. Pinks, you are going first. Name a track.
Cota.
Correct. Christian,
Las Vegas.
can you be more specific?
Oh, yes.
We had 2 races there, so
But I want one of them.
the last one.
Okay, right. I'll give you that. Las Vegas street track. Pinks, back to you.
Miami. Can I say Miami? Am I allowed to say Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Christian.
Indianapolis.
Okay, very good. Pink.
I'm going to say the other Vegas track, one round the car park.
Correct. Caesar's Palace. You can have that.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
The fuck is that correct?
Come on. Car park.
We're going back in time a bit now. You've done all the recent ones. What's next?
Well before our time, Christian. We're way too young for this.
Detroit.
Detroit.
Ooh.
Very
Oh,
good.
well done. I'm going to go with Watkins Glen.
Oh, she's good. She's good. Christian.
I think that's all I got.
What else do we have? We have Long Beach race.
Oh.
Very good. Pinks, back to you. Okay, I'm going to give you a clue, Pinks. So,
Why?
1984.
Oh, God.
One of the people you work with at Sky had a massive crash during practice for this race.
What?
Martin.
Yeah, and there was very
No,
famous. There was a very famous TV program.
This is not making it easier for me. No, I don't know.
You haven't got it?
Is it Phoenix?
There is Phoenix. Pinks, I'm afraid he does get the point. There was Phoenix. Dallas was what I was trying to point you in the direction
Dallas.
of.
Oh, of course, Dallas. Oh my God.
And then
I used to love that
Riverside had one race in 1960, and there
Riverside.
was Sebring as well.
Sebring. Well done. Yeah. Well
we
done, Christian.
are 2-1 to Christian now. Pressure is on. Pinkle, right. It's time for what we call the race. And this round is what happened next. You're going to hear some commentary from last year's Miami Grand Prix, and I want you to tell me what happened next to win a point. So, Pinks, we're going to start with you. What happened next in qualifying for last year's race?
Wonderful sound as he sweeps through, sparks out the back of the car. Can the monogas driver?
Charles Leclerc crash out.
Oh, well, he crashed. It was Charles Leclerc. He brought out the red flag.
She's good.
Wonderful sound as he sweeps through, sparks out the back of the car. Can the monogas driver? Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! He's spun off the road and into the wall goes Charles Leclerc.
Yep.
There you go, Pinks.
Here it
You
goes.
nailed it again. Of course, Leclerc lost the car at high speed in turn 6-7, and he slid into the barriers at the end of Q3. The session was red flagged with just over 90 seconds left, leaving Verstappen in P9 and that man Magnussen in P4. Right, Christian, it is now your turn. What happened next on lap 4 of last year's race?
Max Verstappen had a lot of momentum there. He's like, oh wait, I've got the car. And through goes Charles Leclerc to improve upper place. Magnussen, as you would expect, keeping his foot in.
What happens next?
Oh my god. He keep the Ferrari behind for so many laps.
I think Magnussen loses the place.
No, that's not enough. Let's hear the answer.
Now we've got DRS enabled. Say goodbye to the Red Bull. That is absolutely outrageous. In another lead when he used the DRS and he goes past the Haas and the Ferrari.
Oh, 2 places.
So Max overtook them both, having dropped down to P10 at the start. He'd recovered to P8 and looked to be biding his time as Leclerc and Magnussen fought each other in front, but then on the start-finish straight on lap 4, he opened the DRS and overtook both of them into
God.
turn 1 to go P6. Now,
And Charles Leclerc
the
stays stuck
exciting
behind
news
the house.
is that you two are 2-all, which means we go to our tiebreaker. Pinks loves the tiebreaker every week.
Can't we have 2
Are you ready?
winners?
No, we don't. Oh, no. There's none of that. None of that in this quiz. There's only ever one winner. Now, look, the tiebreaker, you need a pen because I need you to write down your answer so there's no cheating. All right? Have you both got a pen and paper? And then I want you to show me your answer. The question...
One more fish for the collection.
...is how many pit stops were there in total at last year's Miami Grand Prix?
So
I
boring
just need a
question.
number. Okay, Christian, hold up your number. Okay, 26. Pinks, hold up your number. 41. Neither of you have got the number bang on. So we're going to go with who's closest. And the answer is 20. So, Christian, not only have you won the tiebreaker, you've won this week's quiz.
Were there only 20? What is wrong with that? I get so overexcited with pit
Oh,
stops.
shit.
That's a good thing
What is
with
that?
one-stop races.
I don't even remember that it was a one-stop race. You see?
Young
Pinks, whenever it goes to the
Let myself
tiebreaker.
down.
Yes, you do in the tiebreaker most weeks.
I just get overexcited. It's always the pit stops. I always blow on pit stop.
Christian, very well done. Good knowledge
Thank
of
you.
not only the Miami Grand Prix,
Well done, Christian.
but F1 in the US as well.
No, nothing else needed. People.
Guys, that is almost it for this week.
Oh,
Thanks both
is
for your
it?
time. As ever, I want some predictions now. Sprint winner and podium predictions for the Grand Prix. What do you got for me?
Oh, let's see. Max pole position. And maybe Norris P2 again. And Serious P3.
I'm gonna go with Lando as the sprint winner, and I'm gonna say that.
Oh shit,
a
sprint.
McLaren
Oh my god, sprint race also. Fuck me. Sprint race. Yeah, Lando Norris could be a sprint winner. But he will probably not be.
gets on the podium as well for the Grand Prix, and I think Max will still be magnificent, but I think. Oh, let's mix it up a bit then. Let's say. I don't want Fernando. I think Fernando will be good. Oh God,
Nope.
I hate predictions.
Or he will be good. Aston Martin will probably be bad, and Lance Stroll will be even worse.
Come on, Pinks, give me a 1, 2, 3 for Sunday's race.
Okay, I'm going to say Max, Lando, Fernando.
So I go with Max as sprint winner, and then I go with, I know I'm boring, but I go with Max, Checo, and Charles.
Guys, I think Ferrari are going to bounce back. I think we're going to see Charles Leclerc winning the sprint. I think Max will come through to win the Grand Prix, but it'll be a really tight battle with Leclerc again. So I'm going Max, Leclerc, and Lando for the Grand Prix.
Oh shit, what did it say?
Again, so I'm going Max, Leclerc, and Lando for the.
Yeah, that sounds fair also. So no Lewis Hamilton. Man, the believers have stopped believing in Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton.
Grand Prix. Let's check in with our F1 fantasy team now, F1 Nation Racing. We saw some improvement in Shanghai after back-to-back races with less than 100 points. Sainz, Alonso, Piastri and Magnussen helped us reach 140 points after deductions for Tsunoda and VCARB following their DNFs. Now don't laugh, we're down in P 230,320 in the F1 Nation World Championship. That shows two things. One, how many people are contesting our fantasy league this year, and two, just how rubbish we are. But it's tight at the top, with Rack, Wagon and Yellow Racing both tied on 1,484 points in P1. And for Miami, given that myself and Christian both think Charles Leclerc will get on the podium, and I fancy him to win the F1 sprint, we've brought him in for Carlos Sainz, so our lineup for the coming weekend is as follows. Leclerc, Piastri, Alonso, Tsunoda and Magnussen, with Ferrari and VCARB as our constructors. We've also applied the no negative chip, so none of our drivers and teams can receive any points deductions. And remember that F1 Fantasy is free to play, and you can join our league at any time. Just go to the official F1 website or app and search for the F1 Nation World Championship to play against us and other listeners. And remember, you have until the start of sprint qualifying on Friday to make any changes for the Miami Grand Prix. Guys, thank you both very much for your time this week, and thank you to you at home for listening. Quick thing about next week's Beyond the Grid, because we're marking the 30th anniversary since Ayrton Senna's death at Imola on May the 1st, 1994, and he's going to be remembered in Miami, and we'll have a special episode with his nephew, Bruno Senna. That is available on your pod feeds from Wednesday.
Bruno Senna.
If you have a question for our
they did
F1
something
Nation
about
experts, then please send us an email to f1nation@f1.com, and we'll do our best to answer it on a future show. And don't forget, it's not too late for you to bid a race this year.
It's Senna,
just go to
but
tickets.formula1.com to book your seat. And if you're in the US and can't make Miami this weekend, then check out tickets for Austin and Las Vegas, as well as the rest of the 2024 season. But we'll be back next Monday with our review of the Miami Grand Prix. Now, F1 Nation is produced by Formula One and Audio Boom Studios.
Yeah, go away. See, what did they do? Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, they said that Ayrton. Man, there was maybe that's why I was thinking Ayrton. Kulta Ayrton. Hey, let's see what kind of legacy they did. Man, when McLaren had the cool.
O Ayrton nasceu para ser piloto. Ele não nasceu para ser pintor, ele não nasceu para ser.
And he could have won with Williams. Man, so unlucky. Where did I take the boat from? Here. That we go, that we go. Painter. Oh, okay, he wasn't born. Oh,
para ser empresário, ele não nasceu para ser qualquer outra coisa. Ele nasceu para isso. Eu sou Viviane Senna, irmã do Ayrton. Ele era o irmão do meio e eu sou a irmã mais velha. Aos 4 anos de idade, ele ganhou um kart do meu pai. E desde pequeno ele só se sentia realmente pleno e feliz num kart. Ou fazendo alguma coisa que envolvesse...
Oh my god, No! Man, I need to read this. Fuck me. Let's see.
Mais velha.
Yeah, sure.
Aos 4 anos de idade,
Okay, so already in
kart do meu pai.
age
Desde
4.
pequeno ele só se sentia realmente pleno e feliz num kart ou fazendo alguma coisa que envolvesse velocidade. E aos 10 anos ele escreveu uma redação já falando
Fucking an essay. Really? And how long was that?
o sonho dele era ser piloto de Fórmula 1 e ele naturalmente expressava isso, né, no dia a dia. A gente nunca levava muito a sério, porque ele era uma criança, ele era um adolescente.
Oh, new fish for the collection.
Ele mesmo dizia que Deus tinha dado a ele oportunidades. Ele não só tinha o talento,
Believer.
ele desenvolveu esse talento para correr, mas ele conhecia tecnicamente o carro detalhadamente. Ele era o primeiro a chegar na pista junto com os mecânicos de manhã e era o último a sair. Ele voltava das...
I mean, he was really living the Formula 1 life. Can't waste any time outside the Formula 1. Everything need to be in Formula 1.
voltas de treino, sentava com a equipe.
Man. I wonder how the fight between Tasana and Michael Schumacher would have been if he still was in Formula 1.
E contava, volta por volta, como o carro tinha se comportado naquela curva, naquela volta, que barulho tinha feito.
One more
Tinha uma precisão, uma diligência, uma dedicação, uma disciplina que, junto com o talento, tornou um campeão quase imbatível. Ele era
Yeah, and Prost ruined so many good ending of seasons. Right? Is it there 2 races? One race, yeah, and the Senna kept going, but got disqualified, and that made Prost win. Then at the Senna, I mean, if they both crashed out one race, he will be the champion.
Piloto que tinha uma técnica tão apurada. Ele e o carro era uma única coisa. Ele sentia como se fosse parte do corpo dele. Ele não corria só, ele dava um show nas pistas. Ele competiu num momento onde tinham pilotos muito bons. Então, a corrida era muito disputada e isso trazia uma emoção que quem não acompanhava a Fórmula 1 passou a acompanhar no Brasil e no mundo inteiro. O Ayrton foi uma pessoa muito especial, não só como piloto, mas como ser humano, e isso encantou as pessoas no mundo inteiro, não só no Brasil.
And I think I've heard almost like Sir Paris in Mexico. You can maybe buy off politician, but you can't buy off the love for the F1 driver. Yeah, didn't Sir Paris make that joke? That his dad do the dangerous work because he's a politician.
Cada corrida era um show com Ayrton. Além de tudo isso, as pessoas o admiram muito mais pelas atitudes, pelos valores que ele tinha. Ele não ganhava de qualquer jeito. Ele ganhava porque ele tinha uma paixão.
Man, and this could maybe in the future be Drugovic if he get the F1 seat, but we probably not get it. Or, man, fuck me, if Lance Stroll leaves, it would be so perfect if Yuki Tsunoda join the team with Honda and get podiums for Japan. But maybe more room in Williams can happen so Drugovic can join there.
Ele era movido não por isso, mas por isso, pelo coração. E tinha uma energia diferente. E ela conectava as pessoas e conecta até hoje.
Oh shit! Don't we have... No. I thought it was Adrian Newey, but no.
A maior conquista do Ayrton talvez tenha sido o amor das pessoas, o coração das pessoas e que leva as pessoas a serem transportadas para esse outro mundo, aonde o tempo não passa, ele é eterno. A memória que eu mais gosto do Ayrton é lembrar dos olhos dele. Aquele olhar doce e guerreiro ao mesmo tempo. Era um olhar que vinha daqui do coração. E para mim isso é uma coisa mágica, é uma coisa divina. Eu acho que Deus fez o Ayrton
nice guy and a bad guy.
Com um propósito. Eu acho que o Ayrton cumpriu esse propósito.
Oh shit. And that we do that way. Man. Oh yeah. Fuck me. Autosport also. What did they do? Let's see. Oh my god, bad time. And that would be so interesting to know. After Williams fixed the car, could Artisana have maybe won the championship? That year. Because didn't... oh my god, can you see that information? Let's see. When did that happen? Here we have McLaren. What? Oh shit. So isn't this year? Let's see. Yeah, it maybe is. Nope. No. It must be. Was this the first year? Why it's so hard to find? Oh shit. Let's see if I can find some of the weather. Let's see. Herton Senna 1994. Let's say it's 1994. Why can I find him? Did they remove his points or why? Let's see if I'm just gonna points 1994. Okay, can we see? Let's see. And this was the third race also. Right? San Marino. Yeah, San Marino, yeah. The third race. But I want to see the points. What did he have? Well, maybe you can't see it. Or maybe you can, let's see, can you see first? Menardi. What do you have Menardi? Who do we have as DNF? Det var inte sådana, så DNF the first race. That can't be funny in his home race. What did it do? DNF. Oh my god. That car must have been horrible to drive. And that DNF he didn't come back from. Mick Schumacher have now 30 points. So this will easily be in... Oh fuck me, can we maybe... Then we change... No, we can't. Okay. $30 for 0 for A, and that could get him plus 10. Plus 10 for... Oh. Oh shit, I need to write that also. 6. Then 10. 6. One, two, three. Or, let's see. Oh shit, that's that race also. So this man, Adrian could have easily been the winner of this race. This championship. I mean, like, if one, you know, that race, the DNF, Adrian will probably, oh, maybe he will already have more points than Mike Schumacher. Michael Schumacher, so this wouldn't, the ending wouldn't meant anything. But let's see what Autosport did for Adrian. Brazil hype. Bring Drogovic to Formula 1. Like, give him a race seat. So we can see the Brazil flag again. Fuck is just pictures? Sure. And music. John Play Special. Man, bring back Lotus also. And hopefully China will bring back the Lotus name into Formula 1. McLaren days. I mean, is it weird to have Ferrari and McLaren have both red? So tired. Wait. I must see something. Oh, okay, so that's why 1st May is actually the day he died. 1994. I feel like they could have, Autosport could have done somewhat more than this. Fuck, new fish for the... Fuck, so loud. 100% black fish. Wait, didn't... Huh. I thought Minecraft said something about, or on the... I wouldn't say wiki, but something about Minecraft. That the blackfish isn't part of the collection you can collect. But maybe it is. Now we get it to the last car he drove in. Okay, so that happened. Yeah, fuck me. It was just pictures and man, what they see. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. Yeah, we do this tomorrow probably. So yeah, when let's see what happens tomorrow. It's Thursday, so one day. Yeah, is it one day? It should be. To really be sure about that. Oh yeah, so well, more or less 2 days because it's so late. So 2 days until the first practice for Malmö's Grand Prix. Yeah, there's no IndyCar, I believe. Still no Formula 2, Formula 3, so just Formula 1. So more Formula 1 stuff will probably happen. So yeah. So until more